Hello, this is Joe Pryor with the virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City. I'm sitting here in my office with Henri, my little toy poodle. He's going to help me out do the video for you today. I just did a video on the Federal Trade Commission and some of the rulings that they've made to try to take care of some unfair business practices that are going in real estate short sales. In fact, really more than unfair, unscrupulous and dishonest, and if you want to use the word fraud, be my guest. But they're trying to protect the customer who's in distress and can't make their house payments from people taking advantage of them. Now, I've done videos before and blogs before on third-party scams, and I want to kind of go into another variation that I've just found is coming into the Oklahoma City market. I'm sure it's probably in your market also. And this again involves third-party people coming in and wanting to do a contract, which is an assignable contract, and then have the realtor go ahead and list the property for them, and then they skim profits, and they say make $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever that they make. They get the short sale done with the lender at this lower price. Then they do a simultaneous back-to-back closing, and then they make the money at the second price, and really with no intention to close. And this has pretty much started to be shut down. The people that were calling me around the country asking me to be involved in this, and I'm sure they were calling everybody, and I basically told them no, of course, but they've kind of gone away. But then a new variation has come up, and this is where what they do is they do the contract. But now what they're saying is, look, I want you to sign the deed over for me. Now, the question, of course, arises, you do a quitclaim deed with them, which is kind of an instant deed, and do they actually file it or not? Now, there's problems both ways, and they're thinking that if they're an owner now, along with you, then there's no more third-party fraud, but let me explain how there is. First of all, if they don't file the deed, then they don't have ownership of the property. So they're going to file that at closing on the first closing. But something has got to be filed immediately for it to be real. In other words, time is of the essence. Kind of like a post-dated check. You give somebody, say, well, this will be good in 30 days. Well, it's a no-good check. So it is something that if they're honestly saying that they're an owner, they need to be an owner. Now, let's take the variation again on that and say that they did file the deed. Well, if they filed the deed and you have an FHA or a VA mortgage, well, you pretty well just have become not only a party to fraud, but you've also eliminated the possibility of a short sale. When you signed off on that loan at closing, when you purchased the house either with a VA or an FHA loan, you agreed that the only way that you would give ownership to someone is if they qualified through the mortgage company and they assumed your mortgage. So you can't just sign it off to somebody. Any changes like that has to be with the agreement of the lender. In fact, even conventional loans very often are really set up this way. So if the lender is not aware of something, there is deception going on. Now here's the other problem, and here is what doesn't change about these third-party frauds, is that they are never going to tell the lender that they're doing a back-to-back closing and they made an extra $10,000. And let me explain that. When we sign on to do a short sale for you, of course, as I said before, there are no upfront fees. In fact, now it's a $16,000 fine if anybody tries to get upfront fees from you. But we do it to get fair market value. This is what the lender says. All right, Joe, we'll let you represent this client. We'll let you sell it as a short sale, but we ask you to get fair market value. So if a property is worth $150,000, I'm not going to list it at $75,000 just to get a contract and say, well, here it is as good as I can do. They're going to look and see what the current market values are. So if it's $130,000, let's say, then that's what they expect me to do. And if I take less than what I originally listed for, I have to show a timeline. I have to show feedback. I have to say, look, here's how we've tried to market it. Here's the feedback on it. Here's how we reduced the prices over the course of 60 days. We want you to know we tried to get that higher price. We could not. This is the best we can do. And then they do the evaluation with a broker price opinion or with an appraiser. They compare it to their valuation model and come back and say, okay, then we'll do 120 or we'll do 115. Now, if somehow I convince them in a fraud to take 110 and say, well, you know, that's fair market value, and then immediately put it back on the market for someone else and they make an extra $10,000, guess what? I just lied to them. I told them that fair market value was 110, yet I sold it for 120 immediately for this third party. That is a lie. That is fraud. That is not getting fair market value, and it puts you in jeopardy also because you become a party to this. You do not want to do this. Now, here's what I would suggest when these people come and talk to you about this. Say, look, okay, you want to go ahead and do this? That's just fine. First of all, I want you to sign an affidavit that you're going to tell the lender that you're making the extra money, that you're doing a back-to-back closing on this, and we'll see if the lender will approve. One of the reasons you ask that question, because the lender's going to go, no, I'm going to get a hold of the Department of the Treasury and the Department of Justice instead so we can prosecute this. The second thing you can ask them is, so say, okay, you want to buy this property for $110,000 on a short sale, and then you want to relist it? That's fine. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to put up $110,000 in a bank that you forfeit if you can't resell the house. Otherwise, I won't do this. Well, guess what? They're not going to do this because they have no intention of closing. And this is what really bugs me about these people and why I want them out of this business. There's some realtors that are doing this. There's some third-party people outside of our industry are doing this. We've got to get them out, because what happens if they don't close, and if it's too late to resell your property as a short sale, then you go into foreclosure. They just forced you into foreclosure, as versus a short sale that would have benefited you from not having the credit drop, not having that hit on your credit report, being able to buy another house in 2 years, by the fact that they had no intention of closing. So when they come to you now with this new variation, when they say sign over the deed, run away. It is not a good thing. It is not an honest thing, ethical thing, legal thing, and they're going to get you in trouble and they're going to put you in jeopardy. And if you hear about anything like this in the Oklahoma City area, I want to know. Get a hold of me at joe@joepryor.com. I'll be happy to give you the number for the Department of the Treasury. We need people to do honest work for honest people that have gotten into trouble because of a financial hardship. And you deserve the best. You deserve ethics. You deserve expertise. And that's what we intend to do, and we're going to do everything we can to make these other people go away. This is Joe Pryor with virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City, where we deliver traditional real estate values with the speed of technology.